Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and your fondest wishes are being granted now. We are back on the air. So, welcome to Duane and myself. We're ready to get moving on tonight's show. The news is overwhelming. I had some stuff laid out, but I think that we need to address a few other things first.
This is Friday.
Yeah.
Friday after the Thursday where the Marines got shot.
Yeah, this Tennessee shooting is unbelievable. Duane, what do you...
It's unacceptable.
Well, it is.
At what point do we say enough is enough is enough?
Yeah.
You can sugarcoat this stuff all you want, that it's just some misguided individual. Baloney.
Well, we've got hundreds of government officials in there investigating now.
Yeah, well,
hundreds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I think what they're going to find is probably not a whole hell of a lot. I think these people are not stupid, some of them, and I'll be willing to bet you he's covered his tracks pretty well.
If you want to stay on that subject for a bit, or you want to come back?
Yes, go ahead. No, let's roll with it.
Let's roll with it. I got something here that the whole thing, people are saying, well, he never seemed violent. We're talking about the gunman, of course.
Right, exactly.
He never seemed violent. He never expounded any kind of radical theories or any kind of radical. Well, he's smart.
Of course.
Today, ISIS, some of the Taliban and Al Qaeda, they weren't overly bright. They're still not overly bright.
Right.
They're
fanatics.
Fanatics and no education. No idea how to go about doing it. This ISIS group is smart. They know how to use the internet. They know how to use psychology. They recruit from unbelievable people that you would never be able to convict them or convert them, but they do. So this guy does not say anything. Of course he's not going to say anything. If he starts telling everybody, hey, I'm radicalized and I'm going to go and shoot some Marines or shoot something, the FBI would be all over him. So what does he do? He shuts his mouth.
Sure. Who's one of the worst mass murderers of all times? John Wayne Gacy.
People never
How did he get away with that for years?
Yeah.
Because he kept it
zipped
up.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're no longer these guys who are going to go around and up and down the streets carrying signs and all this kind of stuff. You don't know who these are. I'll bet you at some point they're even going to shave their beards, so you can't even see them anymore.
Now that would violate their religious codicils and all, and I'm not. But they are worming their way underground.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it. And you know what else we have to face, and we don't like to talk about it. Oh, this isn't what America's all about. We got to start watching these folks that are coming to this country, and we're going to start saying, whoa, wait a minute, buddy.
Yep.
Right back where you came from.
We got to even watch some that have been here for a while.
We can't find any background on you. Out.
Yep.
No way we're taking you.
Yep.
But no. Oh, open the doors for everybody. This is madness. Now, Angela Merkel was on TV this morning, and she was talking to some Lebanese refugees and told them, you're going to have to go back. You're not going to stay here. Mm-hmm. We took you on an emergency basis, but we are just not going to open the gates and bring everybody in here. We can't. And a little girl cried. So Angela Merkel is being vilified.
Of course.
Yeah. How could you say that to a little girl?
But this whole thing, we have a president that will not say Islamic terrorist. He will not put those two words together.
That's exactly
because he keeps denying that they're Islamic if they're a terrorist. Baloney. It's time we start recognizing the 3,000-pound elephant in the room.
Now, Duane, I've made some quick notes this morning on things I want to talk about. Right at the top, Tennessee shooting. And you know what my 2 notes are underneath it? Terrorism, timid president.
Exactly.
And this is just echoing exactly
One of
what
the
you're
generals
saying.
said, if you can't identify your enemy, you can't defeat him.
That's exactly right.
Here, I want to quote you something from that
Go ahead,
article.
let's have it.
You read this too, but we're talking about President Obama. He avoided describing the attack as a terrorist plot, saying, "We don't yet know all the details until a full investigation is complete." Well, that didn't stop him with, Martin in Florida?
Right.
Didn't stop him from making judgment in Ferguson.
Nope.
Didn't stop him from making judgment in New York City.
How about in Cambridge, Massachusetts with Skippy Gates?
Right on TV.
Right, he immediately condemned the Cambridge cop.
That's right.
And said, "Oh, I know Skippy Gates. He couldn't have done that."
Yep.
Give me a break. When it comes out and there was a videotape of Skippy Gates howling and screaming and,
But now he couldn't make a judgment here.
Yeah.
But he could before.
Yeah. This is a terrible, terrible thing. But boy, I'll tell you what. Let's hope that some good comes out of this, and it awakens the American people.
Awakens the American Muslim population.
Well,
that they started stepping up and saying, no, enough is enough, instead of this mute.
Or how about the American Muslims coming to the police
Yeah.
and the FBI and saying, you know what?
What's this guy?
Yeah, here's a list of a couple of guys you guys need to really...
Instead of being there, zipping that lip and don't say a thing.
Now, maybe we're doing that. And I think we would have had other incidents, Duane,
probably.
if we weren't doing that sort of thing, intelligence
But
work.
that I'll give you. But what bothers me is their silence after the fact.
Yeah.
They say nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, even New England, the group here, and there's a group in Sharon.
Yeah.
You don't see anything condemning this or condemning it. They don't say a word.
I know. We have got to, well, here's the deal. The Brits suffered terrorism for how many years?
Oh, my. Yeah.
And we always looked at that as happens
Overseas,
there.
yeah,
Hey, guess what?
It's coming here now.
That's right. It's coming here.
Yep.
And we better be ready for it.
Because
this leader in the White House is a leader in name only.
And they are here, and they're going to do damage, and they're going to start picking what they call taking the low-hanging fruit.
Oh, of course.
That's the easy targets. You see, they didn't attack Marines in full combat gear.
Right.
They went to a recruiting office where they're in a full dress uniform.
That's right.
Sitting downtown in an office.
Yep.
Having a cup of Starbucks, talking to some kids about going to Marines.
That's right. That's
and they
right.
shoot and run.
That brutal. Absolutely brutal. Well, let's hope that I'm wrong, and let's hope we get a real good picture of who and what this guy was.
I hope so too. Actually, I'm kind of sorry he's dead, because this way there's going to be a lot of naysayers and whinies that say, well, he was just a disturbed individual. He wasn't really an Islamic terrorist.
You know, Duane, that brings, I'm going to skip a topic here and two, and I'm going to go to the Colorado theater shooter.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Who was found guilty.
Yep.
James Holmes. He killed 12 people and wounded 70.
Yeah, that's...
He was insane, his lawyer contended. Not in control of his thoughts and actions. Yet, the prosecutor rebutted that by saying, well, he plotted out the shootings to a T. Okay? So he couldn't have been that distraught and that messed up.
No.
All right? I think we get a pretty good picture of who and what he was all about. By the way, on my theory on these guys, he had broken up with his girlfriend, the only girlfriend he had ever had, and he felt that his life had lost purpose. And he dropped out of school. Well, so there again, we go back to that stuff again. But these people are not sane.
No.
In the way we regard sane, but they're still guilty of a horrific act. And I'm sorry, I would not allow them to cop an insane plea.
No, because they're not sane as we think of sane across the board,
Right.
but they're not insane either.
Yeah.
They got a convoluted way of thinking and a convoluted way of coming to conclusions. But that doesn't preclude them from knowing what's right and wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I agree with you that it's a shame this guy was killed.
Yep.
Because we would, I think, benefit from debriefing him.
Absolutely.
You know.
Just one aside. Same thing that would happen in Colorado. What was the underlying? Gun violence. Same thing here. First thing this article says: assault marks the latest eruption of gun violence in the United States. Always come back to gun violence. He could have thrown a Molotov cocktail in and did the same thing.
Absolutely. But it's gun violence.
It's always blaming something, another factor.
That's
in
right.
This.
It's not terrorist acts.
No.
It's not criminal acts by criminals.
Yep.
It's gun violence. As
couldn't
though
help-
the gun
couldn't help
did
himself,
it.
yeah.
The
He
gun
got
did
the
it.
gun in his pocket,
Yeah.
in his hand.
I don't know. I pulled it out and the damn thing just took over and started shooting.
What happened in California?
Yeah. In
California, the immigrant that shot the woman on the dock.
yeah.
He just picked it up and it just started shooting.
Went off. Yeah. Oh, man. The Charlestown shooting. 9 people murdered by Dylan Roof. They pronounce it R-A-W-F, not Roof.
I thought it was
Roof.
R-O-O-F, but
It is. It's R-O-O-F, yeah.
Okay.
But pronounced as a R-A-W-F, like Ralph, or like a dog might bark or something. Who knows? But this guy, he can't cop an insanity plea. He went in and sat in that church with those folks for an hour.
Yep.
And he was discussing some of the Bible readings that they were studying or praying over. And then finally he announced, well, you are raping our women, taking over our country, you have to go, and he shot them all. Now, you can't cop an insanity plea. He planned what he was doing.
That's right.
He sat there and had discourse with them. It wasn't as though he came in foaming at the mouth, just shooting.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, now, okay. More to my point, maybe, then. Why do we screw around with a year and a half or 2 years before we bring these people to trial? And why do we pay millions upon millions of dollars to try these people? They're as guilty as sin. It is there for everybody to see. They should go to a special 3-judge tribunal and bango.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think your legal profession has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, they make a lot of money off this.
Exactly, and a name for themselves.
Yeah. Oh, this.
It's showtime for them.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
What it is.
And the kid, Dylan Roth, whatever the hell he is, he's got a public defender. I'm sure that public defender is saying, thank you, God, because he's getting paid. He's going to stand to make one pile of money.
No, that makes a name for himself. Now he's going to be known in the legal circles. Yep. There's a related story in here for that.
Yeah. The Iran treaty.
Oh my God.
What sort of intelligence can you make out of this?
I was disgusted with it, quite frankly. It's so full of holes and so full of ifs, which, again, I watched his press conference on it, and he made it sound like it was such a tight deal. It was all done. Oh, if they do this is going to happen.
Oh, yeah. He has the iron will, too, that if they step out of line, well, the sanctions are back in place right now.
Just snap back.
Yeah.
Just snap back. No, and he said that they still won't allow it if they don't want to let you come in and look at anything. And they can hold it up legally for 24 days.
24 days.
24 days. And he said, well, he said, this is not like some little thing that you could just take out in 24 days. I beg to differ.
Yeah.
If you know that your facility could be examined within 24 days, instead of bringing in this piece of equipment right here and cement it to the floor, you put it on, and this is theoretical, you put it on dollies.
Or a skid.
Or a skid. They
Yeah.
come in with a truck and just slide it out.
That's it.
Well, you don't have to come in with a jackhammer and stuff. You don't build it that way if you know it's going to be subject to 24 days removal.
Absolutely. And you know what? I don't think we've reached the point with our satellites where we have infrared technology that we can look at night and see what they're doing
And we
at
can't.
night.
They bored into that mountain and stuff. They're doing that. There's no way you can get into that.
No.
But
Now,
it just can't be trusted.
you know,
Who did this remind you of?
what does this remind me of? Neville Chamberlain waving, "We have peace in our time." Exactly.
Yeah. And what happened there?
Yeah.
He was dealing with the same kind of characters.
He was proven to be a very naive man. Principled, but very, very naive. And he was bowled over by a dictator who was ruthless but brilliant.
Just give them a little background. Everybody knows, just in case. Refreshing it.
This, in 1938, Hitler was absorbing more and more countries in Europe, and it all came to a head over Czechoslovakia.
Right.
And Neville Chamberlain took it upon himself as British Prime Minister.
He was the Prime Minister then, prior to...
Churchill.
Churchill.
Yeah. And he took it upon himself to go on a one-man peace mission to Germany. He went to Berchtesgaden and to Munich and had discussions with Hitler. And he got Hitler's name on a piece of paper and
Promised him.
He said, "I have the gentleman's name here on this agreement. We have peace in our time. No more territorial ambitions in Europe. Signed, Adolf Hitler." And what did Adolf Hitler do?
He immediately invaded Poland.
Well,
took over Czechoslovakia, and then
he immediately went right in. The piece of paper was worthless because he went right into Czechoslovakia and took the rest of Czechoslovakia.
I could see while Chamberlain's waving his piece of paper. Well, I guess Hitler didn't drink, but the rest of them, they all poured themselves a big glass of schnapps, having a celebration, just like they were celebrating in the streets of Tehran.
Oh, exactly.
If that was such a tight deal that they made, that they're just going to abide by it, they wouldn't have been celebrating it.
Listen, that was the greatest sham of all times. The hardliners over there, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. And what does Kerry do? Oh, come on, guys, play good.
You know,
come on.
Israel, they're shaking in their boots over this.
Yeah, they are.
But Saudi Arabia,
Saudi
United
Arabia,
Arab Republic,
yeah.
all the Arab nations too, they didn't want to see this happen.
No, because now the Saudis are going to have to develop atomic weapons. And unless Israel strikes, now there are people on, well, some of the talking heads on TV that have come out of the woodwork are, they're out of touch with reality. But one guy was on the Irantian Raven that this agreement guarantees an atomic attack by Israel on Iran. Well, isn't that something, huh? Guarantees it. I don't really quite think it's going to come to that. But by the same token,
Go ahead.
If Kerry thought he had a tough time with the Iranians, wait till he goes to Israel and tries to sell this to the Israelis.
They're not going to buy it.
No. He's going to have one heck of a load there to convince, I'll tell you. He's going to be the greatest salesman of all times if he can calm them down. And the Saudis.
As far as Israel making a preemptive strike, that's not beyond the realm of a possibility.
I agree.
Israel is like a dangerous animal. It might stay at bay, but you take a stick and poke him out enough times, he's going to strike.
I would have thought it would have happened 2 years ago.
I did too.
Yeah. Now, I think it's more difficult. I'll tell you what. They may. I don't know. I don't think so. But if they're provoked, you're absolutely right. I think the Saudis are really going to be up in arms about. Well, they already are.
Oh, they already are.
And here's where we're stupid, because we could be a lot more of an influence with the Saudis than we are. We just, James Baker and George W. Bush. Oh, well, they're oil men. Yeah, but they also knew how to talk to the Saudis.
Yes, they did.
And we used to get a lot of cooperation and a hell of a lot of intelligence out of the Saudis.
That's right.
We may still. I don't know. None of us know. But it could be a lot better. It could be a lot tighter fit than it is now. And we could have more influence on them. I really and truly believe that.
Yeah, I don't think the Saudis would cooperate today with Obama like they did with Bush.
Well, they hold him in absolute contempt.
Well, he's a joke to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And if, heaven forbid, Hillary Clinton were ever elected,
Oh, my God,
well, a woman in the Middle East is
of all,
going to be a virtual non-entity.
Non-existent.
Just a non-starter.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, you got to deal with reality. And that's a male-dominated society over there. It has been for centuries upon centuries. Not going to change tomorrow. We can condemn it and say it's wrong, and we do. But by the same token, we also have to realize that you got to understand who you're dealing with to get your ends.
Yeah, because, even in Saudi Arabia, it's only recently a woman could even drive a car.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right.
She wasn't allowed to drive a car.
Or go out by herself. Yeah. She still has to have a male relative with her.
Somebody said one time that in the Islamic society, particularly the conservative groups, that a woman's status was above a goat and below a camel. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if they said that at all. Yeah. Let's see. Let me deal with this one next. This morning's Globe had a tiny story at the bottom of page 4. Now, one would think this story would have a lot more in it and be in a more prominent place.
It depends who and what it was.
It's about Hillary Clinton.
Oh, okay.
The AP poll, now they're a bunch of conservative whack jobs, the AP. Yeah. According to their latest poll, her numbers have dropped precipitously. Her favorability rating now with the American public is down to 39%. That is an 8-point drop. She is viewed, and here's the things too, they could have really talked about in the article, but the article was just this tiny little thing.
Of course.
She's viewed as less decisive and less inspiring. Now, there's probably a lot more to those questions they asked that would have made a very interesting article. But the Globe sort of
I'd like to see him throw in ethics and honesty in there, too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. Now, this is an 8-point drop. Duane, that is really something.
That's a nosedive in politics.
It is. It's not as though anybody has come on the stage to challenge her. I mean, Bernie Sanders, come on. He's getting numbers, and he's getting press. And you know what? She has got to be worried about this.
Of course.
How can Bernie Sanders get numbers?
She has to hear footsteps behind her.
Yeah, exactly. One of her hirelings, Lanny Davis, said, well, I think it's the mainstream press trying to make a story where nothing exists.
The mainstream press has given her so many buys.
Exactly. They give her, it's like a walk in the park for her. This is a situation that John Kerry has got to be sitting on the sidelines and saying, my stock is like Netflix. It's
Yep.
at an all-time high.
John is just waiting to pick up the pieces.
I got to believe he is licking his chops and saying, you
you're
know,
right.
these numbers, she's going to be in trouble unless she turns it around. And Duane, what's with the silent act with her, with people?
If you don't say anything, they can't accuse you of anything. I think that's.
Is that it?
I think she's afraid to open her mouth, and something's going to come out that she's afraid that's not. It's
Foot and mouth disease.
foot and mouth disease. Yep.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Biden, every time he opened his mouth for a
Yeah.
while there.
But she's widely regarded as one of the smartest women in the world.
Yeah, by whom?
Well, her followers, of course. But I just don't understand how she thinks she's going to get the nod in the Democratic Party and then campaign if she will not walk into crowds
Yep.
and say, "What's on your mind, Duane?"
Yeah, yeah, and just
Yeah. Or, hi there, Mr. Weiss. Enjoying that cup of coffee? What's on your mind? What do you got to say?
or entertain a contrarian opinion.
Yeah. How's about those little meetings they have up in New Hampshire in barns where they get 50, 60, 80 people in, and it's like a New England town meeting.
It's an ego stroking session, is all it is.
Yeah. Well, up there, though, they get rough.
They can't-
And with the candidates, and they start, hooting and hollering and what's this and what's that. What do you mean by saying that? They're not handpicked by her, and she's not going to go in front of
not
that
gonna
kind
go
of a
in that.
crowd.
No.
What is it that she is afraid of? Is it really that she's afraid of putting her foot in her mouth, or is it that she doesn't have the answers?
I think it's both. I think she doesn't
Yeah.
have the answers to
Yeah.
these questions, and she's got so much baggage.
Well, when you start talking about the Middle East and problems over there, and they start in a New England town meeting setting about asking her that, well, she's got the background to answer it, but
should
when
have.
she does, they're apt to jump all over and say, "Hey, now wait a minute! You were the Secretary
No,
of State
what
over
about
there, and
this
you
and that?"
bungled it. What the heck is going on?"
Yep.
She can't afford to have that happen.
No, she can't.
No, she's walking a tightrope.
Yep.
And you know what? This may be the only strategy that's going to allow her to be relevant as she works around the country and builds an organization, is to keep her yap shut.
That's right.
Boy, oh boy,
That old saying, better keep your mouth shut and be thought a fool than open and confirm it.
exactly. Well, Greece appears to have calmed down
Yeah.
a bit
So far.
so far, but there's still an awful lot of turbulence over there in Greece, and I think that they bought some time with the Euro organizations, but what a mess.
I don't know what's going to happen though once it gets out into the populace.
Oh, yeah,
They're not.
No, they love their fat pensions.
Yep.
They love their 7, 8, 9 weeks off a year.
About 2 months they were getting.
Yeah, or whatever, you know.
2 months bonus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
2 month bonus just for showing up for work.
Yeah.
You know, was this late night talk show guy in that new one, Seth Meyers?
I don't know.
He took over one of the shows.
Yeah.
I just happened to see that the other night. He had his monologue, and he had his punchline. It was good, and I wish I could do it like he did. He said, I see Greece had a long session to come to some conclusions that lasted 17 hours, a whole work week in Greece.
Well said. Well, I just have one more thing. The increasing irrelevancy of the President of the United States. Between golf, Hollywood fundraisers, and the free trade bill with Asia, that we have no idea what's in there,
No, we
that's
don't.
buried in there, he has no impact on American life. He is, for all intents and purposes now, totally useless. He's been swept aside by events. He has been revealed for all to see as a very insignificant and deeply flawed individual. And he's our president.
I know. It's too bad.
Yep. It's going to be a very strange year and a half before we change horses.
We have to have a president that is not only a strong individual here, but has respect and knowledge about international.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's treated the European just with the back of his hand, the whole European community. He seems obsessed with the smaller countries, the emerging countries. How many times has he been to Malaysia and over that way, and also the African continent? That's fine, to help these people try to enter the 21st century and to work with them. But there's a lot more important matters on the table that need to be addressed that he's not addressing.
Look at the two powers in the world, excuse me, China and Russia. They think he's a joke.
Well,
Putin has no respect for him.
he's really terrified of him. I understand that Putin really didn't sleep for a couple of nights after the threat to put the tanks over there.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he was worried about that.
Yeah. Who's going to drive those tanks, I wonder? They're going to move the 101st Airborne over there and have them...
Oh, no.
Man. Well, sir, shall we get back to...
Yes. What we didn't get to before.
What we haven't gotten to for, 3 sessions? The change of Alexander Hamilton on the $10 bill. Now, somehow or other,
Go ahead,
we are swept up in the idea that we've got to put a woman on the $10 bill. However, we had a PBS NPR poll. A poll.
That's okay.
So
we're old.
yeah. So they asked the people, should we change Alexander Hamilton on the $10 bill? 76% of the people polled said no. 19% said yes. 5% said they don't care.
Well, I'm a no and don't care combined.
Yeah. The 19% now, I wonder if that was worded that should we just change Hamilton? If that had been worded, should we put a woman on the $10 bill? I wonder if that would have skewed the numbers somewhat. But people don't care.
People don't really care.
Of all the things that we have to deal with in this country, you mean to tell me that the Secretary of the Treasury can't find something else? How about the IRS?
Yeah.
How about the tax code? I mean, mother of
You know
all
what my first
creatures.
reaction to that would be? Why? Is the Hamilton's plates wore out or broke?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you want to spend millions of dollars making a change for no reason?
And here's a man that was one of the very, very key founding fathers.
You can go on government spending, government getting involved in this kind of stuff. Look at the quarters, 25-cent pieces.
Yeah.
We did every state. Now we've done all our possessions, and now I don't know what they're into now. There's something else.
Something foolish, yeah.
Did anybody really say, oh, I wish I had a quarter with Delaware on it, or I wish I had a quarter with Pennsylvania on it? Who cares? A quarter was a quarter. Why do we spend all these millions and keep changing them all the time?
It doesn't make sense.
Any sense.
And they thought that coin collecting would have a rebirth because of this, and people would buy the proof sets from the mint and buy the gazillions and salt them away, and that they'd be worth all kinds of money. You know how much they're worth? 25 cents.
25 cents. That's
God
right.
almighty. Well, here's a sad story. Boston police arrested a Somerville man at a Cambridge hospital late Sunday morning in connection with a home invasion. Nicholas Angelesco, 19, and 3 other men allegedly broke into an apartment armed with knives and a sawed-off shotgun before taking off with several bags of marijuana, the police said. In the course of the incident, Angelesco accidentally fired the gun, the police said, and then drove himself to the hospital for a gunshot wound to the foot. He faces armed robbery, home invasion, and kidnapping charges. Now, this kid obviously is a potential Mensa member.
You know, there's a TV thing, I think it's on True TV or Spike.
Yeah.
Is World's Funniest,
Yeah.
or World's Dumbest Person,
Yeah.
World's Dumbest Criminals. There's a whole series of those.
Yep. Well, my boy Angelo here is on the short list to go on that program, let me tell you. I get a couple more here that are really good. Now, our government, I mean, you can laugh at the absurdities of it.
You almost have to.
But this one here is going to, when I read this, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Seniors have won additional protection against identity theft. In April, President Obama signed legislation that, among other things, will end the use of Social Security numbers as the main identifier on Medicare cards.
Amazing that he picked up on that so fast.
Yeah. And then this bozo from Texas says, that's a giant step forward.
What fool did not see this years ago already when they were using Social Security?
How could all the super brains we have in government not figure it out before now? For you folks at home, by the way,
you young guys.
For you young folks, when you get to be Duane and my age, you're going to get a Medicare card. And you know what it's going to be? It's going to be your Social Security number -A.
Yeah, on the end of it.
Yeah, the bad guys will never figure out
one part of the government
Social
says
Security number.
Secure your Social Security number. Don't show it. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
The other form of the government is printing it on the card that you got to show every time you go someplace.
Absolutely. And this is absolute madness. But for us to be using that number for all these years. How long has Medicare been around?
Oh my God.
The 60s, the 70s?
Easy 60s. I'm
yeah.
not sure. But.
This is unbelievable that our government, all the brains we have, all the think tanks down there, couldn't identify this as a potential problem.
Even as slow as this state is.
Yeah.
And that we're slow.
Slow.
To react or to see anything. We even took the Social Security number off the driver's license. We used to have that as a number.
Yeah. That was optional at first.
That was optional at first, yeah.
Yeah. Our friends at Dunkin' Donuts, you folks are going to be very happy to hear that Dunkin' Donuts' parent company profits soared. Profits were up nearly 12%. And I'm not going to read you all this stuff, but let's just say this. Dunkin' Donuts is doing very well. Think about that. The next time you go into the Dunkin' Donuts in Norfolk, they cut their senior citizen discount from 10% to 5%. Okay? While profits soared. You folks that trade there need to think about that, you know, and do you want to aid and abet those folks?
Don't ever irritate Bill with a senior citizen discount.
I've no truck with some of those people.
He'll show them. I'll bet they're already looking at chapter 11 here if this word gets out.
That's it. They'll probably drink themselves silly tonight at home. Now, you know, sometimes we heard about our friend Angelo earlier, and the Medicare thing, the entire government that couldn't think straight. But here's another very, very interesting story about Chad and Joey Mudd of Largo, a suburb in the Tampa-St. Petersburg area. They gave their teenage daughters cocaine and
I saw
marijuana
that, yeah.
if they went to school and did household chores. According to the affidavit, the mother said she smoked pot with her daughters 5 times, and the father snorted cocaine with the teens and one of his daughter's boyfriends in his truck. Now, get a load of this. These girls are 13 and 14, but she's got a boyfriend that has a truck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So these folks are really bringing these girls up
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in a really stern manner.
Just
you
like,
know,
just like we grew up.
yeah. Chad Mudd. Now, this may be hard to believe. He's 36 years old, and he works at an area beach bar. Could you have seen that one coming?
Shocker.
Was charged with 6 counts of child abuse and 1 count of possession of cocaine. The wife, Joey Mudd, 34, was charged with 2 counts of child abuse. Now,
Unbelievable.
where do you suppose Joey Mudd, who is certifiably a sweetheart here, where do you suppose she works?
I was going to say probably some adult bar.
She works in a pediatrician's office.
Oh, my God. I was going to say she might be a stripper.
You can't make stuff like this
That's
up.
what I said before.
They've been released on bail. But it's unclear if the couple has retained an attorney. It's also not clear who is taking custody of the children. The sheriff's office was not available for comment. We wonder sometimes, how do these kids go bad? Wasn't there any parental influence at home? And you see a story like this.
That's when you do get parental
Yeah.
influence, it's the wrong influence.
We're laughing about it, but it's pathetic. I mean, these people should get 98 years in prison and then be shot if they get out.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
We were kids. If we didn't do something like that, we got a size 10 boot in the butt.
Absolutely. Now, here's another lovely story. And this is one of these stories. The family that stays together is just dynamite, you know? The police pursued a SUV when the cops say a person, a mother, was shooting heroin in her SUV with a baby boy in the backyard, and her mother, riding shotgun, tried to run down several Tewksbury police officers during a chase. A mother-daughter act. Haley Simpson is 21, and she was arrested and hit with 13 charges, including 3 counts of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, possession of heroin, resisting arrest, creating the risk of injury to a child, and failure to stop for police. Her mom. Linda Stimpson was along for the ride, and she was arrested with heroin possession and resisting arrest. Now, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but I just want to ask you this. By the way, they were clocked at 65 miles an hour with a kid in the back seat as they chased. The police were chasing them, and they drove head-on at a detective and forced him off the road. We hear so much about this heroin epidemic and how these people are victims. Are these people victims of a disease, or are these people criminals?
I think they're both. But
Both.
First of all, I don't buy it particularly that victim of a disease.
Oh, nor do
because
I.
You weren't born that way.
Exactly.
If you were born, and I know there are babies born addicted to crack and different stuff, but when they're 3 or 4 years old, they're not addicted anymore. When you're 15, you're not addicted anymore. This is a voluntary choice that you made to do it.
These two people did this willingly.
Yeah. Now, hook that story and the story before
Oh yeah,
together. What you got here is that story 10 years later.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a very good thought. This just is. But you wonder sometimes when you're driving on the road, how many people are snorting heroin as they're driving along or whatever the hell they're doing. You know, then you wonder sometimes when you see some of the. I saw a car almost hit another car this morning in front of my house. This lady pulled out of Ellis Avenue onto Main Street, right in front of a car. I mean, you could have passed a feather between the two cars.
Oh, it just.
You know, who knows? I don't know. I must bring this. You know, we see some absurd things in the paper. Martha Coakley.
Okay.
She is quoted as saying,
That's sort of a go together, don't it?
you know,
Absurd things in Martha Coakley.
former Massachusetts Attorney General said Martha Coakley said the Bay State's popular liberal gadfly, Senator Elizabeth Warren, has one role, and it's not running for president. I think she's understood her job is to make sure that this president is held accountable. There is no one who knows more about the way our financial systems work and should work. There's not been a better or stronger critic of big banks and Wall Street and some of its predatory practices. And Coakley said, and so I will always consider her a champion, someone who stands up for things she believes in. Okay, all right, she adores the senator. But her job is to hold the president accountable?
No.
So, have we got? Did she get this wrong? Is it the job of a senator to hold a president accountable?
Never has been. Except in a hearing.
And she lost 2 elections.
Yeah.
Yeah, to 2 of the biggest ones she went for. She got defeated by Scott Brown, and then she got defeated by Charlie Baker.
Yep.
Hard to believe with that sort of thought process that she could ever get defeated.
I never had a whole lot of, I should say, respect for that Attorney General. I thought she was very ineffectual. And I remember years ago, she had this thing where she was constantly bringing Massachusetts into some kind of suit against either Microsoft or Intel. It had nothing to do with the state whatsoever. It was a federal thing, a monopoly.
She wanted to join.
Yeah.
Join the list of attorney generals.
Why is she wasting our state's money and to do something that the federals should be doing?
Well, you know, it looks good that she was a co-sponsor of that movement when she wanted to move up the ladder.
Bill, there's one in here that I got that's just the same thing, but it's ready to waste a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's with Sonara, the trial.
Yeah. You know, what turned me off of Martha, well, you know, but what I think really was the straw that broke the camel's back was Scott Brown was outside in the wintertime in snow and ice, shaking hands with people.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do it. And she said, "What do you expect me to stand out in front of Boston Garden and in the free, and shake hands with people?"
I don't do that.
I don't do that. Yeah. Well, gee, she lost the election. I got 2 more real quick, and then I'm going to turn you loose.
All right.
The Duane ripple effect continues. The head of the state chemist was testing all the drugs. This is getting worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, she agreed to a plea bargain. She got 4 years in prison.
Oh, that.
I mean, she should have gotten life in prison for the chaos and the money that this is causing the state of Massachusetts. And every time there's another finding, another bunch of these drug dealers get released. And then they go back out on the streets selling drugs.
Yep.
They sell them to people that then start using them and kill people in burglaries and holdups.
Oh, it's something. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Man alive. Yeah, but sometimes I think accidentally newspapers may put the real story accidentally in a headline. I like this one about Marty Meehan at the head of the UMass class when he was going to be appointed. Has experience, political skills needed to lead the system. President of the state of Massachusetts flagship university.
Unbelievable.
And political skills needed.
That's where it comes in. Nothing.
Nothing about education.
Nope.
No.
Oh, no.
Nothing about his ability to lead people. Nothing about management experience. No.
Other states would have been on a worldwide, or at least a countrywide search.
Yeah, we had.
We don't do that. We just go to look for old legislators.
Yeah. Political skills needed to lead the system.
You know what they said? Well, he's good at fundraising. Well, la-di-da. If we had a state here that would finance university systems like the other states do, we wouldn't have to be out begging.
Duane, I'm going to look for something real quickly because you have just said something that is unbelievable.
Go ahead.
In a survey of states all around fiscal strength, i.e., income to debt, pension load, those were two of the factors, big factors. Guess what the number one rated state was? Was the state of Alaska.
Okay, sure.
Guess who came in at 48th?
I could guess it probably starts with an M.
M. Massachusetts.
Yep.
Even Rhode Island outranks us.
Yep.
49th, New Jersey. 50th, Illinois. Isn't that a great troika right there?
Sure.
Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Illinois. And we think of ourselves as the hub of civilization.
That's right. That is such a joke.
It is. But and you just alluded to it. Yeah. We choose these people. It's an insidious system where we thought, oh, now who's an unemployed politician? Oh, Bobby is. He lost that election. Oh, okay, well, let's plug them into UMass. They need a new assistant chancellor of the
They
blah,
pointed
blah.
some politician's driver to head Massport at one point because she knew all the politicians.
Oh, yeah. And well, the driver for the registry of motor vehicles was always promotable to be registrar.
That qualifies you.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. I mean, that's Clem Riley down Norwood was, I think, oh, jeepers, I forget whose driver he was, but Rudy King's, I think. But, yeah, just, so that was big search for that. What do you got that infuriates you?
I got to get this one here. It doesn't infuriate me, but I think it's apropos.
Let's have it.
The the Oxford English Dictionary has a new word officially. We've made it big time.
Educate me, sir. I love new words.
The term is masshole. A term that is formally recognized now for mass drivers and other assorted Well, I want to tell you,
residents.
I saw one this morning coming here. Not a driver, a jogger.
Aha.
Going down 115, going towards Foxborough. Now, we have put sidewalks all the way from downtown, clear down to Lafayette House, on 140 there, all the way along the side.
Let me guess, he's out in the street.
Oh, he's out. But he is going against the traffic.
Yeah.
But he's right in the middle of the traffic lane. People coming here have to stop, wait, pull out into oncoming traffic. You know that's a busy road to get around this guy. Then the next one has to do it. He wouldn't even get over to the side of the road. What do these people think?
You know, they don't. They really and truly don't.
He was a little 145-pound guy against a 3,500-pound car.
Well, now let's think about something for a second. I'm sure he has a vehicle.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah. He could have driven to the fields, the recreation fields on 115,
Yep.
and there is a track around the fields.
Or he can run
Gee,
clear down to Lafayette House
yeah.
if he wants, but oh no.
No. Unbelievable. No, you know, between joggers and bicyclists,
Yeah.
we may have to give up driving.
I don't know. But there's an attitude about it.
Oh, I know it. I know it. Oh, I like this too. The bicyclist is in front of you. All of a sudden, hand goes up in the air. I don't know whether that means I'm going to go right or I'm going to go left or I'm going to go straight up.
No
I
idea.
don't know.
No idea.
Then they go zoom, zoom in front of you, and unbelievable. I don't know. Let's have another quick hitter
Quick
here.
one.
Infuriate me.
Rhode Island man arrested for the 40th time.
Good God.
38 times in Massachusetts.
What did he get arrested for?
Oh, it's a variety of things. Weapons charges, a lot of them. It wasn't just silly things.
Oh, so it wasn't shoplifting?
Oh no,
or,
they got stopped one time for marijuana. He pulled out a gun under the seat. He had a loaded weapon waiting to do something with it. I mean, this guy went on and on and on. But my point here again, how come he's on the street?
How old was he?
30.
30. And he's been arrested 40 times?
That's right. Good point.
At what point does some judge finally
Get tired of seeing him.
grow a backbone and say, hardened criminal, or, there's got to be some sort of terminology for locking him up as
That's right.
a person that just simply can't conform.
So,
well,
if somebody calls you a masshole, they're not doing you a favor.
well, I'm glad that we've illuminated that, and on that, we're getting the sign that we're
time to get out of here.
So, friends, thank you much for viewing, and we'll be back at you real soon, and we'll have some more things to explore and infuriate you.
That's right.
Good night.
Good night, Bill.
Good night.